The founder and CEO of Retro Fitness goes undercover to find some of the worst employees in his company. What will this CEO do once he encounters this inside his own company? Stay with us to find out. Eric Castleberry, born and raised in Staten Island, is the founder and CEO of Retro Fitness. Retro Fitness has about 90 gyms with over 300,000 plus members, and they employ about 1,200 employees nationwide. Eric goes undercover as Barry. His employees are going to be told that he's a guy who's down on his luck who's attempting to start his own gym by starring on a reality show. His first undercover job is with Megan, a sales associate, and he's going to be shadowing her for a day. Eric thinks that he's gonna outperform on this position as he's really good with sales, and he was right, he did do quite well. Eric finds Megan to be a good employee. He finds that she's really gabby, she's informative, and most importantly, she's always got a smile on her face. But as he observes her in action, even though she's a good saleswoman, he notices how she's a little too talkative to customers, and she's a little meek as well, as she doesn't push customers to gain memberships inside the gym. And looking at Megan's approach with potentially new clients, Eric decides to interject and offers them a free session for a day or two so that they can really witness the gym themselves. Megan is quite impressed with his approach to clients, but she also finds Eric to be a little bossy. And as Eric spends more time with Megan, he learns about her past and how she was with some guy who was really abusive and how her father abandoned her when she was a kid. Megan also talks about how she gained a lot of weight in the past because of the abuse and how she had to work on herself so hard to maintain the posture that she has now. How she came to join Retro Fitness is quite an interesting story to Eric, as she first joined Retro Fitness to lose all the weight that she gained, and then she felt as though it was a calling and decided to start a job there. Eric, inspired by the day he spent with Megan, moves on to his next undercover assignment with Jacqueline. Jacqueline is a front desk associate, and what Eric was hoping to see was a very enthusiastic, energetic employee who's using all their front desk associate training to make customers feel comfortable and to show the human side of Retro Fitness. When Eric first saw Jacqueline, he thought that she'd be really good at her position, but as soon as she opened her mouth, the bats from hell started flying out. She's apparently incredibly incompetent, she doesn't care about the job, and she considers all the members to be quote-unquote stupid. As the hours went by and Jacqueline was showing Eric around, he also notices how she's wasting so many of the products as she throws away some of the leftover of the protein shakes that she makes for customers because she really doesn't care about any costs. Eric was already feeling really angry, and he goes on to get angrier when he notices just how rude and mean Jacqueline is to some members, as she uses some extreme profanities in front of customers, making everyone else around her very uncomfortable. And after the very long day with Jacqueline, Eric makes a couple calls to the franchisee of the branch as he realizes that there needs to be immediate change in that position. The next day, Eric goes to another position undercover, praying that this person is not as horrible as Jacqueline was. And his third employee, Yvette, was actually a really good employee. She was a bit set in her ways, she was an alpha, and even though Eric recommended a few better ways of cleaning the dumbbell racks, she refused to take his advice. As Eric spends the entire day with Yvette, she talks to him a little about the billing company and the problem she has with some members that don't pay. Apparently, some members use the gym and then disconnect their number, and the billing company keeps deleting that number even though it's back active again. Yvette also goes on to talk to Eric about her personal problems and how her mother got deported back to Italy. Her mom is quite sick, and even though Yvette wants to go and visit her, she really can't as the job is incredibly demanding and traveling to Italy is not really that cheap. After his day with Yvette, Eric's undercover job was now complete. And a week later, Eric reveals himself to be the CEO and founder of Retro Fitness. And Eric starts his reveal with Jacqueline. He confronts her about her incompetence and the way she was treating members, but Jacqueline, surprisingly enough, doubles down and tells him that she did nothing wrong. Eric then continues to call in the franchisee, Bob, the man who hired Jacqueline, and Jacqueline gets very emotional, but that didn't really matter as she gets fired. After getting Jacqueline out of the way, Eric sees Yvette, and he offers to fly her to Italy so she can spend as much time as she wants with her mom who's sick. And in addition to that, he offers her $10,000 to go on a vacation, and then goes on to add an extra $30,000 so she can start her life with her new fiance. And last but not least, Eric meets Megan, his favorite amongst the list, and he offers her $15K so she can find her own place and move out of her mom's place, and then he gives her an additional $40,000 to pay for her school loans, and then goes on to give her $20,000, which he says is just some spending money. And that is how this episode of Undercover Boss wraps up.